Welcome to War of the Weirds, a war between friends where the stranger the discovery is the greater chance of victory. Last time, Broomy struck first with the story of the lawsuit against God. But Mystic wouldn't take such guff lying down, so he struck back with the story of the fastest knife in the West End. The public cast their vote, and in the end, Broomy was the victor. But the war rages on with this week's battle. Castro's Dairy Love versus Jenkem.
Okay. Hello and welcome to War of the Weirds. My name's Broomy.
And I'm Mystic.
And we just tell one another strange stories that we find generally on the interwebs. Mm-hmm. And we enjoy, but then in the end, you guys vote for which one was the stranger story. And then we feel sad. The one that loses feels sad, but we want that.
Right, we want to feel sad. It's a healthy dose of sadness.
Sadness abound. Let's spread out the sadness here.
Yeah. If we spread it out, and then it reduces the pressure for one single, it's what I'm saying, it's diluted across as it spread.
Yeah, this is a podcast about war and sadness. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
So,
it's gonna be great.
So yeah, and you have some sort of story?
I do have some sort of story. That is correct. Well, are you familiar at all, my dear Broomy, with Fidel Castro?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, apparently he was some kind of politician or something. I don't know. I don't really follow pop culture.
I know he's a district in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Where primarily homosexuals are.
Oh, I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah, people refer to it as the Castro.
Oh.
Broomy, Californian here.
Yeah, you have to prove that you're a native.
Yeah.
I know all the ins and outs and the scenes.
And then I read up, oh, that was a different thing. Oh, that was different. Wasn't the Castro at all. It was the Fidel. No, I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It wasn't. I'm saying I'm gonna be wrong.
You could tell me. You can tell me anything, and I will believe it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm so gullible. Yeah. So he was born on August 13th, 1926. Passed away in November of 2016. Mm-hmm. And did a lot in his lifetime. Yeah. Not going to get into all of it, but he was a communist revolutionary politician that overthrew the Cuban president and became prime minister, and then basically ruled as a communist dictator. Notable, his greatest hits include the Bay of Pigs incident and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, so we're not going to get into all that.
Yeah, he's reportedly a super chill dude.
Yeah, oh, of course. The United States, always meddling, as we do, opposed his rise to power because, America and capitalism and freedom. So the United States tried to, in 1961, assassinate him. Have you heard of this plot?
It's not ringing a bell at the moment.
Yeah. Well, do you want to take a guess about how they did it?
It's on this show, so it's strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it the same thing as that one weird World War II plot where they were gonna have bats that had just fire bombs on them and just release them into a city?
Close. Very close to that. Man, bats are really doing good for world panicking things.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a video of a bat peeing the other day. Did you see? You know how they pee? Have you ever seen
No.
it?
No.
Well, because they sleep, they hang upside down, but when they pee, they hold on and then they drop, so they're just hanging there. with their little legs bent, and they just pee, right? Yeah. It's cute. You should
What
Google
are you saying? They piss on their face? What are you saying?
No, they go from hanging upside down to like hanging regularly by the little hooks on their wings. Yeah. It's funny because they're just like hanging there with their little legs like scrunched up. Their long back.
Like they're about to do the sweetest pull up. Yeah.
Getting some ab engagement. Anyways, it's fun. You should look it up. But the United States, the CIA tried to poison his milkshake. So Castro was a big fan of dairy, and I don't. That's something that longtime listeners will recognize as a strongly developing theme about me and my stories. Is that a lot of them involve milk a little bit. At least gets like a mention.
You like that is mad scientists and milk.
Those are my two favorites.
Qualities.
And this has the best of both. This story has the best of both. Castro was living out in the Havana Libre Hotel and regularly got chocolate milkshakes from the hotel restaurant. And the director of the CIA, Richard Bissell, which I think, he like created the vacuum. Bissell, I think that was his whole thing because he's like cleaning up messes. I think that was pretty sure you don't need to fact check me on that one. You can just take me at my word because, I would never say something to mislead you on this show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Trust me wholeheartedly. So
I was looking for somebody to memorize my social security number.
Oh, I would be honored. I think I'd be really good at that. I'm good with numbers, and
8675399.
Great. And is the 99 hyphenated or?
Yeah.
Okay. Richard Bissell hired, because the CIA doesn't have trained killers, of course. So they hired two mob bosses, one from Florida and one from Chicago, to help the U.S. government assassinate Castro. Apparently,
they were wait. They were current mob bosses.
Yes, leaders of crime syndicates.
CIA.
I know, right? Very resourceful. They're outsourcing the job. But they're keeping it. They're providing local businesses with business.
I mean, real quick, didn't we do that? Didn't we hire Osama bin Laden at one point to do some stuff?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
it's
was
great. Yeah. Great choices all around.
Yeah. So what we're saying is it can never backfire when you hire criminals to do crimes for you as the government instead of just doing it. Also, if you're gonna do something like that, if you're gonna assassinate somebody or you gotta just gotta do it yourself. You own up to it and shoulder that burden. That's up to you.
Yeah, come on.
All right.
Learn something from Joe Exotic, right?
I was gonna. Yeah, I know. There's a story to be learned. Be more like Carol. Not saying that she did it because there's not proof, but
sure. I don't even know the story that well, so don't worry, listeners. If you're out of the loop, that's okay.
Yeah. But that's a good reference. The two crime bosses, they were upset because Castro closed down some casinos that they had, or at least had a hand in, and lost a lot of money. So, the plan was to have a waiter slip a pill into his milkshake. The waiter he stowed the pill in a kitchen freezer, and it froze to the inside of the freezer. And when he tried to pry it loose, it split open and spilled poison everywhere. So the dude fled, as you do when you accidentally poison the contents of a freezer. So Castro didn't die, and he did eventually, but not because of that. And so then they just kind of abandoned the plot. I don't know. You give it.
I'm just thinking though.
They try half-heartedly, and then they're like, yeah, it's fine.
Sorry. Does a pill, melt into a milkshake?
I don't know. See, okay, here's the original plan was to use arsenic. But then they thought, no, we need something that takes longer to go into effect to give the waiter or the a chance to like flee and not be there and then like obviously be a suspect. So they were going to use botulinum poisoning. And yeah, so I don't know how that was going to happen. If it was going to they were going to blend it in maybe, or
did they hear reports like he eats milkshakes with a spoon?
I know, like in there. Yeah. I don't think it was
the milkshake habits of Fidel Castro are important for American security.
Yeah. And because, they didn't really follow through with that because they didn't use like the weight of the CIA to infiltrate and find out this information and go through with this, then they just had to put it in the hands of two crime bosses. And it did not work out. But we got this story out of this. So here we go. Fidel Castro loved dairy. The point of my story is not the bizarre assassination attempt, although it is a ludicrous way to poison someone. My focus is on Castro's dairy obsession. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, a famous writer, wrote an essay entitled "A Personal Portrait of Fidel," and included that Castro routinely ate 2 pints of ice cream as a dessert following a full meal. And in interviews, he said that he sometimes ate up to 3 pints. 3 pints of ice cream after a full meal.
I mean, 1 pint makes you feel bad. Like,
right.
Bad.
Right. Yeah.
That'll hurt. So, I don't know how he's doing that.
Me either. But, you know what Cuba is famous for, right? Like what they produce that's famous?
Cigars?
Well, I was going to say ice cream, but yeah, cigars. But Castro really wanted it to be ice cream.
Okay.
No, it is cigars. So one of the things he did when he first rose to power in 1959 was to focus on saving the struggling milk and cattle industries. So while doing this, he took it upon himself to implement a project to create an improved version of I don't know how it's French, Camembert cheese. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Which is a cheese for which France is famous. Like it's an iconic cheese for the country. It's a historical cheese. I mean, France and cheese.
He's trying to make it work in Cuba.
Right. No, he's going to make a better version of it. He's like, I can do this better than this country that's been doing it for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So, in 1964, a French diplomat named André Voisin visited Cuba, and Castro served him some of the Camembert cheese that he had made. I mean, not him personally, but he had produced as like, getting that up and going, that project going. Yeah. And Voisin was like, yeah, it's not bad. And Castro was like, no, you will admit that it's better than anything France has made. And Voisin was enraged. He like slammed his fist down and was like, nothing can compare to French cheese. And then Castro was real upset. And so finally Voisin was like, all right, listen, like Cuba is famous for cigars. And that's like, it's France's cheese is steeped in tradition. It's a historical part of our culture. And it can't be compared. You can't just what you're making can't compare to the richness of that tradition and that culture. And so Castro kind of settled down because he is like, I mean, your cigars are the same way. Like nobody can do it better than you. And so he was calm. He was pacified a little bit.
It's like, I'm still the cheese master.
Right.
You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah. Basically, he continued to assert that Cuba could become the best at anything and everything that they wanted to, including this cheese. So then he ordered 1 container of every flavor from Howard Johnson's ice cream and sampled them all. And after he tasted them all, he stated that, quote, the Cuban Revolution must produce a quality of ice cream of its own. Because, that's real important to establish yourself, like, as a political accomplishment. Whenever I hear about any any politics thing. I'm like, tell me what ice cream. How's their ice cream?
What do Ben and Jerry think of this?
Yeah. When I'm looking at the, got the primaries and stuff, and you got the re-election and current election things going on. I'm looking at
Jerry?
who's associated with ice cream. Yeah, I'm looking at the ice cream experts, seeing what they say.
I'm doing a long distance call, see what Haagen-Dazs is talking about.
Exactly. Let's get some outside perspective on this. So he opened an ice cream parlor in 1966 with more flavors than Howard Johnson's had at the time. And that was a bragging point for Castro. He was real proud of that. And it had a super modern form of architecture. It's 2 stories tall, takes up a whole city block, and is shaped like a UFO, like a flying saucer. It's complete with flying buttresses, which is something I had to look up. So, do you know what a buttress is?
Yeah, it's a mattress shaped like a butt. We all know what it is.
Exactly. So a buttress is like, if you imagine a coffee mug, like the handle of the mug, if you cut the coffee cup in half and set it on the ground, how the handle of the mug like arches out and then now goes into the table or whatever you're setting it on, that's what a buttress is, but you do that on a giant scale for like building support. So it's like a half handle, the top half of a handle that comes out of the ground and goes into the wall to like hold the walls up. If you look up like ancient architecture or like Gothic period, like cathedrals and castles and stuff, like that, they had them. And that's what this had too. So it's like a super modern, but then it also has like medieval castle exterior. It's real weird. You can look up pictures of this.
I feel like if I tried to look that up, I would only get ancient aliens shit.
The name of the parlor is called Capelia. That's based off of a French ballet. It's a pretty weird shaped building. It had 4 indoor salons, 4 outdoor cafes, and an outdoor bar. And this was another way of showing that the Cuban Revolution could produce anything better than any other country. We got cheeses, we got ice cream. We're just going through the list of dairy products here.
I mean, delicious.
Yeah.
By the way, this type of story, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It is like the kind of story, that's why this show is here, type of thing.
Yeah.
The world is extremely strange.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody that's in power anywhere are just, stupid people like the rest of us.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like, no matter what political leaning you are,
right? Everybody
they're just
is
dumb human beings,
right? With weird desires and goals secret to themselves.
Yeah,
and so they have the money and power to do some of these things and make the rest of us laugh.
Yeah. So go on. The ice cream, castle. It's
served. In its prime, it's served over 4,000 gallons of ice cream to 35,000 people every day. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of ice cream.
Yeah.
Today, Capelia still exists. It only serves a flavor or 2 at a time. But people still wait in line for hours to partake in this experience because it has become like such a cultural thing.
It's like an iconic thing,
right?
In Cuba. If you're gonna go to Cuba, you gotta
try the ice cream. Smuggle some ice cream back. Yeah.
I spit on the cigars. I go ice cream.
He was determined to do like cheese better than the French, ice cream better than America, and chocolate better than the Swiss. That was like a paraphrasing of a quote by him.
Yeah, that's like the holy trinity for him. He's
right. Nothing about yogurt, but maybe he would have gotten there. Who knows?
Maybe it's a little too complex. Maybe it's just like he knows his limit.
Right. He's like, I'm gonna be realistic. Like these are actionable.
I could be
goals.
better than
Right.
The French at making good cheese and the Swiss at making good chocolate.
Yeah.
And America at ice cream? Was that our cult to fame?
Yeah, I don't. That was what he claimed. That was what he claimed. I don't really know how ice cream. Like, I don't know the origins really, but I mean, I guess like manufacturing of it now is. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
let's get Haagen-Dazs back on the line.
I know. I was just like, we just had the Haagen-Dazs reference. So yeah, I want to pause here and just say, I completely get the idea behind what's driving him, like not the dairy thing, but I mean I can get behind that too. But like he needs to establish something contributable to the world to secure a legacy as a politician.
Yes, and a legacy, like, if you give him the benefit of the doubt, a legacy for Cuba.
Right. It's like a redeeming quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why is there so much dairy focus? Like, why is this the hill that he's going to die on? Like, this is Cuba's legacy. The Cuban Revolution has to produce good cheese or has to produce ice cream. Like, why is it just something that's like fun for the whole family? It's like I don't want violent revolutions to be my legacy.
Like you said in the beginning, he eats 3 pints of ice cream all the time.
Yeah.
And he probably loved cheese. He probably loved all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like a personal thing. And he's like, you know what? National policy, baby.
Yeah, yeah. This was his whole goal for like rising to power. Is just to be like, I gotta do something about this.
Yeah, this cheese ate up to snuff.
Oh, excuse me. Well,
I refuse.
Okay. All right. Well, screw you then. That's fine. We should just dissolve this right now, right in the middle of this episode. Just dissolve this partnership. This is.
Yeah. Well, you made a weird demand. Hey, excuse me. No.
How dare you tell me? Yeah. So this is going to be an actual war now between us. So,
yep.
Watch out. But getting back to the story, naturally, the foundation of any dairy product is its source. But Cuba's cows were not good milk producers. Cuba had Creoles and Cebus. Those are cows of Spanish and Indian descent, respectively.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I mean, these are obviously you're like a 4-H graduate. This is for the rest of the audience that's not educated.
I know about the Cebuses. I have a doctorate in Cebuses.
That's the last train. That's the final car on a train, right? The Cebus.
Yeah.
It's actually spelled. Well, I've seen it. It's spelled either Zebus or Cebus. But it's pronounced the same way. Either way. But these cows were bred to withstand the tropical heat, right? I mean, Spain and India. I mean, Spanish is. I mean, I'm not saying Spain is tropical, but heat. And maybe it is. I don't know.
I do not know anything about the weather of Spain.
I know. Like,
why do you always bring this up?
Is it the? I know the rains in Spain fall something on the plain, primarily on the. I don't know what it is. I don't. What's that? What is that one?
The rains in Spain fall plainly on the plains.
I don't know. Is it even Spain or is it Maine? I think it rains a lot.
No, I
Maine,
think it's
right?
Spain. I don't think they're talking about Maine.
That's from a Stephen King book, right? About in Maine, somewhere. If you know anything about Stephen King, all of his books take place in Maine, just about.
I don't know that.
Okay.
But, sweet King ref.
Yeah. I almost said Stephen Hawking, but that would have been a further. That's taking the joke to another.
Yeah,
like I'm getting this intentionally wrong, and I'm also getting this other part of the joke intentionally wrong. Like it's just a weird.
Yeah, too far off. Nobody knows what's going on anymore,
right,
including yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what am I even? Who is this for? Who is appreciating this joke?
Yeah.
Nobody. So, these cows could not. They were bred as a source of meat, not milk. And Castro had thousands of Holstein cows imported. Those are the black and white cows that you think of when you think of a cow.
Okay, so Holstein cows are not robot steam-powered cows.
Correct. I can see how you would have gotten that.
Whole lot of steam in them.
Right.
And that's how it went. Just in case you didn't see. Just in case our listeners didn't see.
Yeah. But like maybe when the bulls get mad and they blow steam out of their nose, like in cartoons, I think has like a factor. But yeah, those are the big black and white dairy cows that you think of, like the stereotypical cow. And they were not made to withstand the heat. And so when he imported these thousands of cows, the environmental stressors like were overwhelming, and they did not produce much milk. Like the stress of everything going on plus the heat. So they were.
I thought you were going to say they just all died.
Well, they did. I mean, not all of them. They didn't all die, but they did start to die. Like a lot of them died initially, and then they just kind of like got sick and like just either didn't produce or died along the way. So Castro's next idea was to spend millions of dollars creating air-conditioned facilities to house the cows, and then begin the process of breeding highest milk-producing Holstein cows with Cuba's pre-existent cows that were able to withstand the heat and climate, and thereby produce a quote-unquote super cow.
Is this what Okja is based on?
Yup. So this yielded no success at all, except for a single cow. I mean, they produced cows, but like not successfully.
There could only be
not enough that can produce. So it produced a cow that became the most famous cow in the world, Ubre Blanca. How's your Spanish? Do you know what that means?
No, I don't.
It means white udder. So Ubre Blanca, the white udder, was a record-breaking milk producer. She is recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records as producing 110 liters, roughly 30 gallons of milk a day.
Ugh.
A day.
Something's wrong.
Do you know how much you have to intake to make that as a byproduct?
I don't.
So that was one world record. The same year, she broke another record for producing 24,268.9 liters, or roughly 6,400-ish gallons of milk in a 305-day lactation cycle. 305 days.
Less than a year.
Almost 6,500 gallons of milk.
Yeah.
That's
like
4 times more than the average cow.
Seems like there's something wrong here.
Yeah. Castro loved it. All right. He dubbed her our great champion. That's what he called this cow. This was the champion of the Cuban Revolution.
Oh yeah.
Ubre Blanca. She was cared for by an elite team of handlers. She had armed military guards and escorts. They played calming music for her while she was milked 4 times a day. Before she ate anything, they used other cows to taste test her food to make sure that she wasn't being poisoned or there was no attempt of poisoning. I guess Castro learned.
I wish I had such VIC treatment. Very important cow.
Yeah, I think she's probably more famous than the Chick-fil-A cow. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Definitely more beloved by Castro than the Chick-fil-A cow.
Yeah.
Castro, he bragged about her and showed off her udder. Her udder, when she gave birth and she was in full milk, reached 6.5 feet in circumference.
What?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
How big is she as a cow?
Just a normal sized cow.
So it's like
that's
it's
wider
like
than
that other
my
episode
hands,
where you were.
I wouldn't be able to get my hands around her udder. Like I couldn't reach my arms.
Yeah, it's like that other episode where you were googling like that weird giant balls, wheelbarrow thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna look that up. Actually, I will look up Ubre Blanca. I want to see. Here we go. No, it just looks like a normal udder. I don't know. I guess cow udders are a lot bigger than you think, anyways.
Yeah.
But that is huge. Oh, never mind. I'm looking at the picture of her. Yeah, it's real big. It's way bigger. Her back legs are so wide apart.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking at it, you're like,
You're like,
no.
yeah, science has gone too far here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is the great champion. This is a legacy. She. Yeah.
Real quick,
yes.
I have a fun thing.
Uh-huh.
We live in America. If
Right.
you had to choose an animal as our champion, who would you choose?
Turkey. Easy.
Just a turkey.
Yeah, it's a native North American bird.
They have a specific cow.
Oh, just a turkey. Oh, which specific turkey? Or
Yeah,
which,
like
if I did
a
famed turkey or a famed any animal. Huh.
Any animal.
That's a good question.
Because they got an animal. We don't.
Right.
We need one.
Yeah, we don't. We're America. We are being outshone. Cuba is outshining us. It's time that we take a stand.
We're being outshaned here.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we need more Shanes in America.
We need more Shanes. Yeah.
But Lassie
That's the call to action.
first
Oh,
thought.
Lassie. That's probably, yeah, I would go Lassie. Yeah.
Because, it's kind of the most likable dog.
Right.
And the dog...
Old Yeller, maybe?
Arguably the most likable. What?
Old Yeller?
I mean... our nation is a nation of tragedy, so
yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. You know what? This is a call, putting out a call to listeners to tell us what you think. I'll reissue this statement at the end of the episode, but yeah, I'd like to hear what you think would be America's, or your country, if you're listening from another country, your country's animal that's a legacy.
Or if you have one as prominent as what was it, Blanca?
Ubre Blanca.
Ubre Blanca.
The white udder. Yeah, you can say
if
it.
you already have
English
one,
name.
feel free. Yeah, white udder. If you have one, feel free to mention that as well. And if you disagree with that one being your national animal, you're like, that animal sucks.
Right.
I prefer gray udder. Mention that.
Right. Yeah. How dare you utter that name on this show?
Sorry.
You should be.
I know we talked about that directly before this episode.
I literally said, just a
this.
reminder. Like we have like a top 5 things that we go through before every episode, and like one of them is like, don't mention that one, the gray udder. And then here you go, blatantly disregarding whatever, Broomy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. If you were sorry, you wouldn't have done it. So the white udder eventually died. She actually had to be euthanized because all this production and birthing all these calves took a toll. So her body was embalmed and put on display at the National Cattle Health Center. Obviously, that's what you would embalm and preserve the corpse.
Not to do.
Like that's a completely normal thing to do with a livestock animal. Castro had her eggs frozen so that they could research and hopefully recreate her milk production. None of her naturally born calves ever grew up to produce nearly as much milk as she did. He then ordered a huge portrait of her be made and hung outside on the walls of the National Library so that he could see her from his office window.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a big
really,
fan.
Like,
he really loved this.
He
loved this guy. He visited this cow all the time. Yeah. So as I mentioned, none of her offspring produced as much milk, and Castro feared that this was attributable to the U.S. trade embargoes and biological attacks from America, because obviously America felt threatened at how great he was going and how he was making Cuba's dairy industry great again. Either way, there was no more super cows, and there was no other success story in his hybridization process. So he gave that up, and then he said to his scientists, have one last scheme. And this was his plan, all right? This obviously never came to fruition. I wish it would have. I wish this was a thing today. He wanted to breed dwarf cows the size of dogs that each family could keep in their apartment or home to produce milk for them. He was going to create a dog-sized cow and distribute them to the population so that everybody had a fresh supply of milk.
Yeah, but...
That's obviously what every household wants.
But wouldn't it be so much less milk that it wouldn't be that useful?
But it's just to each family directly. They just have their own little source of milk.
Yeah. So you get, 2 ounces of milk.
I mean, hey, I'm behind this plan. I want a cow.
Yeah. Cows are really cute.
Yeah.
It'd be very cool.
Yeah.
But
just having
didn't work out, you said?
You're like, here's the bathroom. Hey, this is Fidel Castro. Welcome to my crib. Here's the atrium to my house. Here's the bathroom. This is the cow room. Obviously, like every Cuban house has the cow room.
Yeah.
Here's my shrine / memorial / I don't know, to the white udder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's nobody. How pure is it that he loved an animal that much?
How pure is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how pure it is. But he's also looking to this to be he's trying to make it a symbol as well.
True.
For the country.
He's leading by example.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody his, I don't know if you have cabinet or what, any advisors or whatever close to him were is he going off the rails a little bit with this whole cow thing? I could get behind the ice cream. There were rewards for that, but now I'm coming out to this farm to look at this cow multiple times a week. What?
They were definitely thinking that.
Right.
I don't know if they ever, I doubt they ever said it to him.
I doubt they did. Yeah. So 2002, Castro was inspired by Jurassic Park and Dolly the sheep and tried to clone Ubre Blanca.
No,
and he was going to create...
he's inspired by Jurassic Park.
Yeah, cloning the dinosaurs.
He didn't see the movie?
He saw exactly what he needed to see.
He just saw the beginning, and he's just you know what? I'm sure it's a good ending. I'm sure this all works out.
This is all going to work out. And then
we're a fun theme park.
We're going to have a giant herd of Ubre Blanca clones, and they're going to overrun the city and break out. No. Yeah. So, unfortunately, they have not been successful to date. They don't have the equipment to make use of the 17-year-old frozen genetic material yet, but they're working on a way to do that still, but to no avail. In closing, I want to read a quote from Jorge Edwards, who is a Chilean envoy. He was recalling a bizarre encounter with Castro, and he said that Castro forced him to sample different milks and swore that Castro himself could differentiate between milk from different cows. That his palate was so sensitive to the nuances of milk. And he is quoted as saying, this is not Castro, this is Jorge Edwards talking about this experience where Fidel Castro was just hey, let's talk about milk. Let's go have some milk. Here's some milk. This is great. Isn't it great? Overbearing, as a host. Don't you just love this? And you're just okay, yeah. So Edwards says, to top it off, in some jugs, milk from different cows had been mixed up. And so we had a sort of very strange orgy of drinking milk.
What?
And
why?
And
why
I feel
would you say that?
If the rest of the story had been completely normal, putting those words in that order, having a strange orgy of drinking milk, that alone would make it onto the show, I think.
Sure.
But fortunately, we were preceded by all the bizarre occurrences of Castro's dairy obsession. But yeah, I just want to leave you with that image and that wish. Wish you would have an orgy of drinking milk.
No, that's you, actually.
I do.
I was going to say that this is just what would happen if you were in charge.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I would do if I were Fidel Castro for a day. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be heaven.
That's my story. Wow. I'm really craving some milk. I want some so bad. I found last night I made this coffee drink. I don't know what it's called. But
coffee?
Yeah, no. No, it's like basically, but it's just they call it something fancy. You do 1 part instant coffee, 1 part instant coffee, 1 part sugar, 1 part hot water, and you whisk it up until it's like creamy and like almost not as solid as peanut butter, but can like hold its shape a little bit, like it's pretty thick. And then you just like pour globs of that on top of on top of milk, and then you have it's like a reverse macchiato type thing.
Interesting.
It's real good. Yeah.
Very, very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting experimental with milk. And
yeah,
you're like
and
we did it.
We did it with a
milk horny.
Yeah. Milk horny.
I'm horny for milk.
We did it with like hot milk, like warm milk, and then also with regular cold milk. But I want to do steamed milk. I have a steamer, like a cappuccino machine, and I can steam the milk. I want to try that and make it real creamy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then you're, what was it? Strange milk orgy?
Yeah, strange orgy of drinking milk.
Orgy of drinking milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird way to say it too.
Yeah, it is a weird way. But that made me wonder, like, is milk that we get like in gallons, or that I get in gallons at a time, is that all? That's just a bunch of milk, like a bunch of different cows' milk.
Yeah,
mixed
all
up.
of it is orgies of drinking.
So this is
milk.
something I've been drinking every
that's
day,
just regular.
and I've been taking it for granted this whole time.
You've been having so many orgies in your mouth.
I know, man. All right, well, it gives me a new appreciation for milk. All right, well, that's my story. Broomy, I'm ready to hear your story. Hear what you got for me. I am currently sipping some organic grass-fed milk. I mean, the milk wasn't grass-fed; the cows that produced it were, but it's called grass-fed.
You put grass in your milk.
I do. 4 to 5 pounds a day. I learned from Terrar. Sorry, that was Domery. Charles Domery. But yeah, I'm drinking my milk out of a mason jar with a little handle on it, like God intended.
Yeah. We took a little break. That's how you got the milk, because you previously said, I really want milk now.
Yeah, I went and got my
milk. We
took
a quick break.
Yeah.
But now that we're back, I have a story, or rather, it's a shitty story, but it's more of a thing.
Okay.
That we'll discuss, and I have a bunch of information about.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
So, you probably have heard of it.
Okay.
Does the term Jenkem mean anything to you?
Jenkem?
Yeah.
Can you spell that?
Jen. Don't Google it.
I'm not.
Jen Kem.
Kem? No. I know the phrase fair dinkum. Like, are you fair dinkum? Are you being serious?
Think so.
That's what this reminded me of. I think it's like an Australian.
It's not Jenkies. It's not Jenkies. Velma isn't involved at all.
Could she be if she wanted?
I mean, if she did.
Okay.
Well. So Jenkem is
it's the game.
It's a hallucinogenic drug.
Oh, I thought it was the game where you have to pull the wooden blocks out. You have the Jenkem Tower.
No. Jenkem Tower would be a little gross, because the drug is made from fermented human waste.
Are you fair dinkum? What?
I ain't dinkum, bro.
It's what? It's a drug made from human waste?
Yes.
All right. You mean this whole time I could have been getting high?
Exactly.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. In the mid-90s,
Uh-huh.
It was a popular drug for street children in Zambia.
Okay.
they would sewage pipes or whatever. They would just scrape them into a jar, seal it with a balloon or a lid or whatever, and leave it out to ferment in the sun, and then huff the fumes. Open it up and just...
How does this work?
Literally huffing shit.
I feel like everybody smells that every day, all the time. Not all the time, but a lot. How is this different? How does it ferment? What? Doesn't it just get hot and hard and dry? Do you have to treat it?
This is their largely amount of time. This is what they do, is that they gather it from sewage,
okay.
And stuff like that. So it's already at the point where it's maybe not dry, but
yeah. So they're just they have people the underworld is literally scraping poop off of pipes and out of pipes into jars. And they're like, yeah, this is gonna hit the streets hard.
It's not it's a dealer's drug.
Oh, people just do this voluntarily?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's
it's
even
not
worse.
They're pretending it's something else.
I would rather outsource that job.
So the word Jenkem comes from Jenkem, which is a brand of glues, which were the generic name for all glues used by glue-sniffing children in South Africa. So,
very specific demographic there.
Yeah, so, how in certain parts of America people refer to any soda as a Coke?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like that.
Or give me a Kleenex.
Yeah, give me a Jenkem, let me huff this glue.
Right.
And then Jenkem is just a play on that, because it's huffing butt glue. So yeah. Author Emma Guest described the making of Jenkem as fermented human sewage scraped from pipes and stored in plastic bags for a week or so until it gives off a numbing, intoxicating fumes.
I am curious.
So, a 1999 BBC article says of it, the dark brown sludge gathering up fistfuls and stuffing it into small plastic bottles. They tap the bottles on the ground, taking care to leave enough room for the methane to form at the top. So
it's just it's got meth in it, so it's this is a drug, let's try it. Also, I don't think excrement should ever be described in quantities of fistfuls. I don't think it should ever be associated with being touched by my hands.
I mean, I think it's that's what they were doing. Because,
a fistful of poop.
These aren't fucking
question.
Scientists.
Right.
This isn't Walter White doing this.
Right. These are people who were let's sniff glue. All right, I got something else we can sniff.
Yeah, these are people that are, they're not buying, they don't have money to buy drugs.
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're well, I've heard this works. So when you do Jenkem, the high lasts about an hour.
Okay. And
it can cause you to have both auditory and visual hallucinations.
All right.
In 95, one Jenkem huffer told a reporter,
Jenkem huffer.
It is more potent than cannabis.
Oh, all right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Auditory and visual hallucinations. That's generally
that's going to be stronger than marijuana.
Yeah. A 99 report interviewed someone who said, with glue, I just hear voices in my head. But with Jenkem, I see visions. I see my mother, who is dead, and I forget about the problems in my life.
Well, who wouldn't want to do it? You only get
cheap old
glue. You only get get auditory hallucinations. That's not even fun. You get so tired of that after the first one. You're like, bring it on. I need something better. Glue is the gateway sniffer drug.
Yeah, glue is the gateway to Jenkem.
Yeah.
As I've always said. But yeah, yeah, a better drug where you like he says it as if it's like relaxing and good, but like seeing visions of your dead mother, I don't know, would always be great.
I don't think so. Also, you have to huff poop. So, like you're like, oh, this helps me forget about my problems by like facing you with another problem.
I mean, I do that anyway. It's just not fermented.
Yeah.
Yeah. An anesthesia specialist in Boston conducted a study with regards to hydrogen sulfide gas and found that the inhalation of gases like those produced from Jenkem could result in hypoxia, a lack of oxygen flow to the body that could be alternatively euphoric and physically dangerous.
That's how I like my drugs.
Yeah.
That's how I like my lifestyle. Euphoric and physically dangerous.
That's the two descriptors I would give you.
Yeah. And milk orgies are in there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, that's what gives you the euphoria and physical danger.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's like the basic picture of it, right?
It's so weird.
In 2002, Project Concern International Zambia and Fountain of Hope released a report entitled Rapid Assessment of Street Children in Lusaka, where Jenkem is listed as the third most popular drug amongst Lusaka's street children, following Daga, which is what they're calling marijuana, and glue and Daga, but ahead of Balan, which is uncured tobacco, and petrol, which they're huffing, I guess.
Oh, jeez.
So, huffing shit is more popular than tobacco that isn't cured.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
I mean, yeah, if you had to be second to something or third to something, like, all right, marijuana, all right, we get it, you know. And then the glue, what?
Glue and Daga. It's glue and marijuana.
Oh, glue and marijuana. Oh, yeah, a double trouble. Which, I mean, that doesn't, you can't. You can't, I mean.
Feels weird.
Feels weird putting those together and giving it credit.
Unless that's like a separate drug that it didn't explain, but
True.
It doesn't seem to be.
No.
Because they explained the other ones. So, yeah, that's insane, though.
That is insane. Who came up with... I don't even want to know. I mean, I do want to know how this began.
It is weird because it seems like I read an article and I read the Wikipedia article. I kind of focused on those two things.
Yeah.
And I don't... They didn't mention anything pre-90s. So, it's like a modern thing to huff shit.
Yeah.
Which you would think it would be a super old thing.
Yeah, you'd think that'd be like one of the earliest drugs. Like the earliest way your ancestors got high.
Yeah. But yeah. John C. Zulu, director of the Ministry of Sport, he's getting involved. Youth and Child Development in Zambia, said in 2007 that Jenkem usage is less common than glue sniffing, and initially they used to get it from the sewer, but they make it anywhere. They say it keeps them warm and makes them fearless. Sounds like a great deal. Let's do it, bro.
Let's do it. Yeah, there's cold winters, you know? You just
get to huffing. Get to huffing a little Jenkem.
How do you access a sewer? Like, if I were going to try this right now.
I mean, we have manholes.
Yeah, am I just going to go? That's so...
Yeah,
Okay.
grab
Right.
yourself a couple fistfuls.
Yeah, just yep, my favorite image. And then
Yeah.
What?
Play Edward Jenkem hands.
Oh no, that'd be like a good spubby though.
Well, people wouldn't get it. And they'd
No,
be like,
nobody
okay.
would get it. Okay, so this guy had to come forward and be like, all right, just so you know, like, it's not as popular as sniffing glue. Like, our kids aren't just sniffing poop, okay? They're doing glue, like all good school kids.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay, so now we're getting to 2007.
Okay.
On September 26th, 2007, the Sheriff's Department of Collier County, Florida, issued an internal bulletin about Jenkem based on a TOTSE internet forum post by user Pickwick.
Oh, Pickwick.
Which included purported photos of the manufacture and use. Turns out, that very quickly, Pickwick confessed it was a hoax around the time that they posted the bulletin.
Mm-hmm.
But in November, the DEA said there's no recorded use of Jenkem use that's been confirmed in the U.S.
Yet.
But even though
we're about to get it started. It'll be the grassroots effort.
It was, yeah.
It's going to be a Jenkem cartel. I'm going to be in charge of it.
Yeah. Drank milk, huff Jenkem.
Mm-hmm.
The
Leave a
mystic
sexy
story.
corpse.
But even though it was immediately debunked, it gained traction in the news media that kids were doing Jenkem in the U.S.
Oh, yes.
It's not real. That didn't happen,
right?
As far as we know.
Right.
Maybe somebody did it ever, but it's not like a thing.
Right.
Not every major station ran with this story, but a bunch of local ones and local newspapers did.
Oh, this is good. Oh, I'm so ready to see the videos, the weird, the weird PSA videos of how to talk to your kid about huffing poop. I need to see this so bad.
I don't know if there was ever a PSA made, but
signs that your kid is. Yeah.
Signs that your head.
Do you know where your kid's pooping? What?
Do you know where your kid's? Do you know why your kid has fistfuls of sewage? The answer might disturb you.
Do you know what your teenage child is doing in the bathroom for hours on end?
Holding his
what's in their hand?
Jar out of the window to get some sun. So yeah, but that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
This is called a moral panic, basically, right?
Okay.
Where this story's not it's immediately debunked, but some news source just didn't check.
Or didn't care.
They just heard the story.
Or didn't care.
But give them the benefit, I guess the benefit of the doubt, that they just didn't do good enough research or whatever, and they just saw the initial bulletin and did not follow up at all.
No, I'm not going to give a news channel was responsible for dispersing relevant and important information.
I'm saying
give them
it's
credit.
still not good at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's not good at all.
Oh, but they were we need to make this announcement. We can recall it
that
later.
They're that incompetent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. They felt like it was something they needed to get out. Okay. I'll give them that, I guess.
Yeah. Even if that's
Fake
true,
news.
What happens next is another news station sees them run the story, and they're
right.
oh, that's a good story. And it's sort of just feeds into this thing where it's just if it's a sensational story, we're gonna tell it, even if it's not really a thing at all.
Right.
That's what happened with what was it? The Tide Pod Challenge.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That wasn't it was kind of barely happening.
Right.
And then the mainstream news media were oh, look in, are your kids eating the Tide Pods? And then it started really, really happening because it was so widely reported.
They made it happen.
Yeah,
that's
they made
crazy.
It happen.
Let's get rid of the media.
Yeah, I mean, let's not. But
that's what I'm taking away. That's my moral story. What was it called? Moral what? What do you call it?
Moral of the story?
No, the phenomenon of like.
It's a moral panic.
Moral panic. There we go. Yeah. All right.
But there was another thing I was going to mention that was like that as well. Oh yeah, the clown thing. Remember a couple years ago?
Yeah. 2016. How can I forget?
Yeah, it's like that wasn't really a thing. That happened once. There was a clown walking along the forest or whatever.
Right.
But then it happened more because there were so many reports about it.
Yeah. They're like, I want to have my 15 minutes of fame.
Exactly. So, yeah. In 2010, an apartment building in Fort Pierce, Florida, was condemned after police found leaking containers of human waste in a unit.
Oh, no.
One police official speculated the tenant was manufacturing Jenkem. I manufacture Jenkem a couple times a day.
Yeah, manufacturing is not that's it's got to be manufactured with intent to distribute. That's,
Yeah. I have a license.
Yeah. Having a butthole.
That's what I say when I
to produce Jenkem.
That's what I say when I light a paper bag full of shit on someone's door.
Yeah, it's like smoking some Jenkem. Put in a pipe, maybe?
Yeah, smoke that shit, dog. But
literally.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the story of Jenkem. That's what I got.
That's so weird and gross.
Totally.
I just want to know how people found out this could happen. Like, they're just doing it. Maybe they just like really feel the urge to do it, and then they're like, "Oh wow, I'm actually getting high off of this." Like, I was just doing it because I like the smell.
The things that humans figure out, because it's like, I don't know if you know about ayahuasca as a thing.
No. What's
that? Ayahuasca is like, do you know what DMT is?
Yes. Very familiar with DMT.
Okay.
I mean, not personally, but I almost reported on it as one of my stories.
So DMT is ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is the initial ritualistic version.
Right.
DMT is like the chemical version.
Right.
So ayahuasca is like, it's like, I don't know, some sort of boiled root and then another random plant together. But if you don't do that random plant that you eat with the boiled root, then it's nothing. But it's like, they're not close to each other, really. It's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a random connection between these two things. Because one, it's like a something inhibitor, whatever, that the random plant is that allows the DMT to flow or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just using that as a metaphor for this situation where it's just like, well, I guess enough people and enough access to human waste, they're just gonna try it eventually.
I even thought about like milk. Like, how did that go? How did someone like look at a cow and it's like, oh, let me taste that, I bet it's good.
I mean, somebody's starving. They live amongst cows, right? They see a cow sucking on the udder of a baby cow sucking on the udder of its mother, and they're like, well, I'm starving. Let me get an ounce of this.
I guess.
I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I want to get high. Let me get on this. Oh. I mean, after weeks of
yeah, how long is the process, I wonder?
I mentioned, they said something like, where was it? A week or so.
Okay, so it's really down to a science. A week or so. All right. Nice.
Well, like I said, these aren't. These are
right.
Zambian homeless
children. Yeah.
So
I'm impressed then.
Yeah, no, ingenuity. But with that, go ahead and cast your vote on our Twitter at War of the Weirds. And we'll have a poll up to which story is stranger. What are you gonna call this one?
Well, I was originally gonna take this in more of the white udder thing, but then hearing all the ice cream and everything dairy, so maybe let's do like Castro's dairy fetish. Is that offensive?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Or Castro's cow curiosity. I don't know. Yeah, alliteration's fun. I think dairy fetish.
That's what I was
funny.
thinking. Like Fidel's dairy fetish.
That doesn't even work that well though. But, so I'd go Castro. I think that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine. I'll just say Jenkem.
All right. Nice.
Everybody knows it's Jenkem. That's me. And that's like the jar of shit pointing to itself.
I just see it like oozing over. Like, I mean, I know there's supposed to be room for the methane gas to be released at the top, but like, it's always, when I think of a jar, it's always overflowing and dripping.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great. But go ahead and vote for which is weirder, and eventually one of us, I mean, geez, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
One of these points where I'm just going to say, this is the decider no matter what. Whatever happens on this episode, at the beginning of an episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the loser has to make their own Jenkem, and the other has to try it.
Yeah. No. The loser has to actually ingest a extremely strange, abrasive piece of media that the winner picks. And we got some good ones, we both claim.
Yeah.
So I hope you cast your vote, even if you don't. Have a wonderful day, week, life. Yeah, but also, if you like these stories or like the podcast, tell a story to a friend. Be like, I heard it on this podcast. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Be like, hey, dudes, I heard about some cool drug we can try from this podcast.
Yeah.
And then let us know how that goes. Don't do drugs. PSA, don't do drugs. I mean,
don't do drugs.
Do things.
Be
safe.
Jenkem.
Do Jenkem. Yeah.
Don't do drugs. Do Jenkem.
Do Jenkem.
That's me.
It's natural.
So, yeah. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.